The story begins in a loud, chaotic bar, where lights are flashing everywhere and people are dancing non-stop. The atmosphere is completely wild and energetic. Amid this crowd, a mysterious young man sitting at the bar counter suddenly notices a girl. The moment their eyes meet, something strange happens. Without thinking, the girl walks up to him and takes him outside. As soon as they step outside, the girl starts kissing him. This scene doesn't feel normal because in reality, it's the effect of magic. The boy's name is Bansuk, and he is not an ordinary human. He is actually a goblin. Bansuk has a specific goal: to become human. He must kiss 10 girls so he can transfer their human emotions into himself. With every kiss, he steals one emotion. On the other hand, inside the same bar, we see a girl named Yen. Yen is a student, but she works part-time at the bar to support herself. She has a cold personality and dislikes people. She believes that humans have cruel behavior, and to her, humans are even worse than demons. When Yen goes outside to throw away the trash, she sees Bansuk and the girl kissing. In a sarcastic tone, Yen says, "People these days start anywhere. Why don't you go to a hotel?" Bansuk angrily stares at Yen. Sensing the rage in his eyes, Yen quickly runs away. After that, Bansuk tells the girl, "I have taken one of your emotions," and then he leaves. A little while later, when the girl regains consciousness, she remembers nothing, neither how she got there nor what happened to her. She assumes it must all be the result of drinking too much alcohol. The story then shifts back to Bansuk. At that moment, the Goblin Queen comes to meet him. Bansuk tells her that he feels something very strange and heavy inside. Smiling, the Goblin Queen says, "This is called loneliness. You felt this emotion after kissing that girl, because she was very lonely in her life." From here, we learn that Bansuk is not only stealing emotions, but also absorbing the pain and loneliness of those girls, something that will eventually change his life. The Goblin Queen now explains a deeper truth to Bansuk. She tells him that every creature has a different way of becoming human. For example, a bear must eat leaves continuously for 100 days to become human. A fox must eat the livers of 100 people. But when it comes to a goblin, the rules are completely different. To become human, a goblin must kiss 10 people. With each kiss, he takes one human emotion into himself. Then, the Goblin Queen shows Bansuk his next target on her mobile phone and asks him directly, "Why do you want to become human so badly?" Bansuk stays silent for a moment, then replies, "I can't stay alone for 2,000 years like you." From this, it becomes clear that Bansuk doesn't just want to become human. He wants to escape loneliness. On the other side, the story shifts to Yan's college. Yen arrives at campus, where her best friend Leo comes to meet her and lovingly asks how she's doing. Yen, filled with anger and exhaustion, says, "I hate humans." Leo tries to comfort her and says, "You should try falling in love with someone. Maybe you'll start seeing the beauty inside people." Hearing this, Yan's heart breaks. She says, "Ever since my boyfriend cheated on me, I swore I would never fall in love again." Evening arrives, and the scene shifts to a park. Here we see Bansuk using magic on Leo and kissing her. She is also one of his targets. At first, Leo is confused, but when she looks carefully, she remembers that he is the same man she saw the previous night kissing another girl outside the bar. Yen completely loses control of her anger. She walks straight up to Bansuk, punches him hard, and then pushes him away. After that, Yen grabs Leo's hand and starts taking her away. On the way, Leo asks in confusion, "Where are we going?" Yen angrily replies, "Stay away from that jerk. I saw him kissing another girl yesterday." Then Yen directly questions Leo, "Why were you kissing that jerk?" Leo is completely shocked and says, "I don't even know that guy. Why would I kiss him?" Leo starts to think that Yen might not be feeling well, so she advises her to go home and rest. The two of them then leave together. Meanwhile, Yen reaches home and sits down to work on her assignment, though she has no interest in studying at all. Just then, she receives a call from a friend who says, "One of my friends saw your profile and hasn't eaten or drunk anything for 7 days. He just wants to have lunch with you once." Yen immediately refuses and says, "I can't meet him. I have to complete my assignment." But a reply comes from the other end of the phone. "All right, I'll complete your assignment for you." From here, the story takes an even more interesting turn. At her friend's insistence, Yen reluctantly agrees to meet the boy. In return, she sets one condition. She will meet him only once. When Yen sits down with the boy, he suddenly asks a strange question. "How many people have you dated so far?" Yen answers simply and honestly, "I've never been on a date with anyone before." Showing a bit of attitude, the boy says, "I've dated a lot of girls." Hearing this, Yen becomes extremely angry. She insults him harshly, reminds him of his place, and leaves without wasting a single moment. A short while later, when Yen goes to her bar job, she runs into Bansuk again. Surprised, Yen asks, "What are you doing here?" Bansuk calmly replies, "I've come here to work part-time." Yen then questions him again, "Why doesn't my friend remember that you kissed her?" Bansuk responds coldly, "Why does it matter to you? Mind your own business." Hearing this, Yan's anger explodes. She kicks Bansuk in the leg and shouts, "Jerk, she's my best friend. You can't cheat on her." Bansuk slowly steps closer to Yen and, leaning right next to her ear, reveals the secret. "I am a goblin. To become human, I have to kiss 10 people so I can transfer one human emotion from each of them into myself." Yen doesn't believe him at all. She thinks he's crazy, ignores him, and walks away. A little later, a rude customer brings outside food into the bar and starts eating there. Yen tells him not to, but instead of listening, the man raises his hand at her. At that moment, Bansuk arrives and grabs the man's hand. In anger and fear, Yen picks up a leg piece from the table and smashes it straight into the man's face. Yen finally breaks down and starts crying uncontrollably. Seeing this scene, everyone else runs out of the bar. Yen is left sitting alone, crying, because nothing in her life has been going right for the past few days. At that moment, Bansuk returns and, for the first time, shows her genuine sympathy. The next day, the Goblin Queen visits Bansuk again. She tells him about his next target and also warns him about something dangerous. She says, "When you kiss someone, a certain energy is released from your body. If an exorcist senses this energy, he can destroy you. That's why you must be extremely careful." After this warning, Bansuk goes to meet the girl, appears as her dream boy, and the moment he gets the chance, he kisses her. From here, the story becomes even more dangerous and emotional. When Bansuk kisses the girl, he transfers one of her emotions into himself. But this time, the feeling he receives is not normal. Along with that emotion, a strange pain rises in his heart, as if someone is tightly squeezing it. On the other hand, Yen sees her boyfriend with another girl right in front of her eyes. The scene is deeply painful for her. Her heart breaks and she walks home while crying. On the way, Yen runs into Bansuk, who is also crying. Yen pauses for a moment and takes him with her to the bar. After reaching the bar, Yen asks, "What happened? Why were you crying?" Bansuk replies in a sorrowful voice, "My heart is broken. I'm very sad." They are still talking when a strange man suddenly appears. Staring closely at Bansuk, he says, "You smell like a goblin. Are you a goblin?" In that instant, Bansuk realizes that this is the same exorcist the Goblin Queen had warned him about earlier. The exorcist immediately attacks Bansuk and starts beating him. Seeing how bad the situation is, Bansuk grabs Yan's hand, and in a single moment, the two of them disappear. Few moments later, they are back inside the bar. Yen thinks that all of this must be part of a dream. She tells herself, "If this is my dream, then I can do whatever I want." With that thought, Yen kisses Bansuk. But in the very next moment, she realizes that this is not a dream but reality. Yen panics, thinking that she has just kissed a goblin. She immediately asks Bansuk, "If you kiss 10 girls, will you really become human?" Bansuk answers honestly, "Yes." Yen then asks, "Including me, how many girls have you kissed so far?" Bansuk says, 3. "But I don't kiss anyone by my own choice. I have to do all this on the Goblin Queen's orders. That's why your kiss is of no use to me." This hurts Yen deeply, but she says nothing. The next day, Bansuk tells the Goblin Queen about the exorcist. In a deep voice, the Goblin Queen says, "A goblin can become human, but a human can never become a goblin. And when a goblin becomes human, he is stronger and wiser than ordinary humans." She goes on to explain that this is exactly why some people want to stop goblins from becoming human. Then the Goblin Queen tells Bansuk, "You will have to make a very important decision." From here, the story moves toward even more danger, emotions, and twists. The Goblin Queen strictly warns Bansuk that he must avoid the exorcist at all costs. She tells him that whenever he kisses someone, he should immediately run away, or else his life could be in danger. Before leaving, Bansuk asks the Goblin Queen a question, "Did you ever want to become human?" Hearing this, the Goblin Queen remembers her painful past. She recalls her lover, who killed her 7 times because she was a goblin. Each time she came back to life. That is why she gave up her dream of becoming human. The next morning, Bansuk wakes up to a message from the Goblin Queen with his new target. Meanwhile, when Yen goes to college, her ex-boyfriend approaches her, apologizes, and proposes to her again, asking for another chance. Yan's heart becomes conflicted. She doesn't know whether to say yes or no, and she feels extremely troubled. On the other hand, Bansuk hypnotizes his 4th target with magic and kisses her. The moment the kiss happens, intense anger and aggression fill Ban-suk, because the emotion he receives from that girl is rage. At the same time, Ban-suk notices Yen sitting alone and crying. He goes up to her and asks, "Why are you crying?" Yen tells him everything, about her ex, about her confusion, and about her pain. After hearing all this, an angry Ban-suk takes Yen with him to her ex, Kim. He asks Kim to come outside. Kim's friend tries to act like a hero, but at that moment, Yan's friend plays a recording on her phone. In the recording, Kim and his friend are saying extremely disgusting things about Yen and other girls in their class. Hearing this, Yan's anger explodes. She walks up to them in front of the entire class and slaps Kim and his friend hard. As Yen and Ban-suk start to leave the college, the exorcist suddenly appears and attacks Ban-suk. But Yen immediately steps forward and holds onto Ban-suk. The exorcist is forced to retreat because he does not have permission to kill a human, and Yen is protecting him. If Yen had been injured even slightly while he was trying to kill the goblin, the exorcist himself could have been destroyed. After this incident, Ban-suk comes up with a clever idea. He realizes that if he stays with Yen, the exorcist won't be able to harm him, so he asks Yen if he can stay with her. Yen also gets an idea. She agrees to let Ban-suk live with her and help him complete his targets. But in return, Yen sets her conditions. Ban-suk will pay the full rent of the house, he will cook the meals, he will clean the house. And he will do the laundry as well. Now, the two of them start planning how to kiss the remaining 6 girls, and if the exorcist attacks at any point, Yen will protect Ban-suk's life. Yen is also very happy to be living with such a handsome boy. Meanwhile, Ban-suk completes his 5th, 6th, and 7th targets. However, whenever Ban-suk kisses another girl, Yen feels intense jealousy. And whenever the exorcist appears, Yen immediately clings to Ban-suk, forcing the exorcist to leave in anger. One day, Yen asks Ban-suk, "If you become human, what will you do first?" At that moment, the exorcist appears again. Seeing him, Yen grabs Ban-suk tightly once more. Even after the exorcist leaves, Ban-suk refuses to let go and lies, saying that he hasn't left yet. Here, we realize that when Ban-suk kissed his 7th target, he absorbed the emotion of lying into himself. Then Ban-suk tells Yen, "When I become human, the first thing I will do is make you my friend." At this point, it becomes clear that Ban-suk is gradually becoming very close to Yen, and the story begins to develop into an emotional love story. Yen starts thinking about Ban-suk all the time, which slightly disturbs her. One day she asks him directly, "You're a goblin, so what? You're still a man. Then how can you walk around showing off your legs and muscles in front of girls like this?" Ban-suk calmly replies, "I also pay the rent for this house." After thinking for a moment, Yen says, "All right, you can stay here as you like." After this, Ban-suk rests his head on Yan's shoulder and falls asleep, completely safe and relaxed. The next morning, Ban-suk checks all his completed targets. By now, he has learned emotions like excitement, sympathy, sadness, anger, and joy. He has kissed a total of 7 girls, leaving 3 targets still remaining. At night, while both of them are cleaning the bar, the Goblin Queen arrives. Ban-suk introduces her to Yen. The Goblin Queen asks Yen, "Do you know him?" Yen stays silent. Then she asks more directly, "Do you like Ban-suk?" Yen replies, "No." After that, the Goblin Queen tells Ban-suk, "I have sent you the details of your next target. That girl will be coming here today." As she leaves, the Goblin Queen tells Yen, "Take care of Ban-suk." A little while later, the girl arrives at the bar. Ban-suk begins to kiss her. When Yen sees them together, her heart breaks. She leaves the bar crying. That night, Yen is drinking at home when a slightly frightened Ban-suk comes to her and says, "I thought someone was in the bathroom." Yen immediately realizes that fear has entered Ban-suk. He is so scared that he falls asleep in Yen's lap. But when Yen places her hand on his cheek, he wakes up again. Yen asks, "Go and catch someone to kiss." Ban-suk replies, "I don't do this out of desire. It's my compulsion. I have no feelings for them in my heart." Yen then asks, "If that's the case, then what feelings do you have for me?" Ban-suk answers, "I don't know." This answer makes Yen upset. At that moment, Ji calls her, inviting her out for drinks, and Yen leaves alone. After Yen leaves, the Goblin Queen sends Ban-suk the details of his new target. Ban-suk calls Yen, but she is upset because he only said, "I don't know." So Ban-suk goes alone to kiss the new girl. As soon as he sees her, he uses his magic, and the girl begins to kiss him. However, on his way back, the exorcist appears. Seeing Ban-suk alone, he stabs him in the stomach with a knife. Ban-suk is seriously injured but somehow manages to call Yen. Yen quickly grabs a pen, rushes to the scene, and knocks out the exorcist with it. Bansuk is wounded and Yen panics. Then Bansuk dies. Yen, crying, says, "I like you so much, please wake up." At that moment, the Goblin Queen arrives as well. But when her eyes fall on the exorcist, she becomes emotional because he is the same person for whom she had once tried to become human by kissing 9 people, 2 years ago. The Goblin Queen heals Bansuk with her magic. Yen then brings him home, lays him on the bed, and sleeps beside him, as if both of them feel comfort and safety together. When Yen touches his cheeks, Bansuk wakes up and in a pained voice says, "Please don't leave me alone again. I like you very much." The next morning, Yen is drinking tea alone when Bansuk arrives. Yen goes to get breakfast for him. Seeing this, Bansuk is surprised and asks, "Did you make all of this?" Because it is the first time she has woken up this early to make breakfast. Then Yen asks Bansuk, "When you become human, who will you kiss first?" Bansuk replies, "You." At that moment, the Goblin Queen sends him the details of his last target. Bansuk sees it and immediately rushes to meet the Goblin Queen. He asks, "Why did you choose Yen as my last target?" The Goblin Queen replies, "The love emotion within her is your final emotion. Once you complete this feeling, you will become human. But this will only happen if she loves you in return." Here, Bansuk experiences an emotional conflict. He doesn't want to kiss Yen because if he kisses her, Bansuk will forget that he was ever a goblin. Bansuk will forget his love for Yen. Yen will also forget that she ever met Bansuk. The Goblin Queen says, "This is not easy." Many goblins give up before completing their last target and return to the goblin world, carrying only memories of their love. Here, we also learn that when the Goblin Queen had wanted to become human, her last kiss was meant for her lover. But she never kissed him and returned to the goblin world instead. Now Bansuk sits in the park thinking about Yen. At that moment, Yen arrives at the park and talks to him. Bansuk says, "I am going back to the goblin world." Yen asks, "Why?" Bansuk explains, "After we kiss, our memories will disappear. I don't want to forget you. I want to remember you for my whole life. That's why I have to go back." Yen says, "When I come home in the evening, you should be at home. You're not going anywhere." But when Yen comes home that evening, Bansuk is not there, and she cries heavily, missing him. The next morning Yen thinks, "The night has passed, the moment is gone. Now I will learn to impress a boy just like Bansuk." But then she realizes, he may be like Bansuk, but he is not Bansuk. Hearing this, she breaks down and cries once again. Yen goes to the college cafe, where Ji brings her a coffee. Yen knows that Ji likes her, so she says, "If we were dating, we would have broken up one day. But because of our strong friendship, we are still together today." Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the Goblin Queen and Bansuk. Bansuk says, "I want to go back to the goblin world." The Goblin Queen replies, "There is something called fate in the human world. If fate wills it, you two will meet again." At the same time, Yen is going home from college when the exorcist appears. Yen says, "He has gone back to the goblin world." The exorcist becomes angry. "Because of him, I haven't slept for nights and I've gone crazy." The exorcist tries to attack Yen, but Bansuk arrives just in time and says, the exorcist leaves Yen alone and focuses only on fighting Bansuk. Using his goblin powers, Bansuk freezes him and then delivers a powerful punch. The moment Bansuk's punch lands, the exorcist becomes unconscious. Now the two of them return to the bar. Bansuk tells Yen, "If we ever forget each other and yet fate wills it, we will surely meet again." Hearing this, Yen romantically kisses him. This moment serves as an emotional closure for both of them, a perfect combination of love and sacrifice. The scene then shifts back to the cafe, where Ji has made Leo his girlfriend. Their world is now normal, and no one remembers that a boy named Bansuk ever existed in their lives. One day, we see the Goblin Queen performing some magic. As she leaves, Bansuk appears as a regular college student. After college, Bansuk is walking on the street when a bicycle is about to hit him. But Yen arrives just in time and saves him. Yen asks, "Have we ever met before?" Bansuk smiles and replies, "I feel the same way." And this is the perfect ending to the story. A touch of nostalgia, a hint of mystery, and the lingering romantic connection between the two.